Hare Krishna. Welcome to the Srimad Bhagavatam class. We are meeting after a few weeks of gap. So let's get started. We will start with Mangalacharan prayers. I will share the screen. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Soyam Rupah Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutah Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Ram Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Granthiraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Okay. Oops. So, let's recite the invocation verses. Our respectful obeisances to Shri Parikshit Maharaj and Shukadeva Goswami, and to Shri Suta Goswami and Shaunakadi Rishi. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskrityam
Narayanam Namaskrityam
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Naram Chaiva Narottamam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Devim Saraswatim Vyasam
Tato Jayamudirayet
Tato Jayamudiraye
Prayeshu Abhadreshu
Nashprayeshu Bhadreshu
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke
Bhagavate Uttam Shloke
Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki
Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtaki
Krishnaya Vasudevaya
Krishnaya Vasudevaya
Devaki Nandanaya Cha
Devaki Nandanaya Cha
Gopakumaraya
Nanda Gopakumaraya
Govindaya Namo Namaha.
Govindaya Namo Namaha.
So we will not do lead follow for this one, but I will recite the in Mangalacharan for Srimad Bhagavatam. I will share my screen, but I will recite just to keep it simple. You all can recite, but on mute. Janmadyasya yatonvayaditaratas चार्थेष्वभिज्ञः स्वरात् तेने ब्रह्म हृदयादि कवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरया तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि. Okay, great. So let us go into today's topic. So I will bring up today's slides. Okay, here is you can see the slides?
Yes, Prabhuji.
All right. So the topic is Srimad Bhagavatam is legitimate. So we all know, of course, that it is legitimate, but sort of the presentation is that Srimad Bhagavatam is a valid or a legitimate text. It is not something that is mythological or just something which has no real basis. And of course, the main topic in Srimad Bhagavatam is Lord Shri Krishna. So if Srimad Bhagavatam is legitimate, then the main topic that we learn from Srimad Bhagavatam, which is Shri Krishna, is also legitimate. So that is the point that we want to convey. So let us see how we will build this discussion. And please make it interactive and follow along, paying attention. Then you will get the whole thing. I have tried to make it fairly straightforward and simple for everybody to be able to understand it. There are no math equations. There is no complexity as such. Very straightforward with basic if you pay attention, you should understand. All right. So now what we want to do is establish the legitimacy of Srimad Bhagavatam. That's the topic for today. The main slide says the Srimad Bhagavatam is legitimate. So we want to establish the legitimacy of Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, material legitimacy. Material legitimacy means that even from a materialistic standpoint, we should be able to say that Srimad Bhagavatam is correct. All right? Even from a materialistic standpoint. So let us see. So mainly this topic is for those, but all the devotees can also relish, but it is mainly for those who are not yet devotees with faith in Srimad Bhagavatam or faith in Shri Krishna. But one requirement is that they have a scientific mindset. So which is a lot of people, almost everybody believes in science, has a scientific mindset. And, typically such people are, very materialistic because they only believe in science. It's like either science or God. In their mind, somehow they have some kind of a binary dichotomy. If I believe in science, then it is wrong to believe in God. Anyway, so how to establish we will see a particular point of how we can establish the legitimacy of Srimad Bhagavatam, even from a material scientific standpoint, materialistic science. Okay. So here is the point. If Srimad Bhagavatam demonstrates a perfect scientific approach, okay, then would it help to convince such people of its legitimacy? If I can, let's say, show that Srimad Bhagavatam is following a scientific approach. So what is the scientific approach? We state a hypothesis. And then we make a prediction. In brackets, I have put the word falsifiable, and I will explain what that is. It's a very important word. And we try to confirm that prediction by empirical evidence. by empirical means something which we can observe or we can measure using our senses, such as eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and skin, our material senses, sense organs. So basically by taking measurements with a ruler, in simple words, let us say, with a. So the hypothesis that we are making today is that Srimad Bhagavatam is legitimate. That's the hypothesis. And we are making a prediction, and we will see what is the prediction in the next slide or in a couple of slides, but I'm telling you that the prediction we are making is about SDN. Okay, SDN, simultaneous day and night on the earth. So we all know that, if today it is night here, then it is day on the opposite side of the earth, correct? So we are making, now that we know today, but that's the prediction that Bhagavatam makes, that if there is day in half of the earth, then there is night on the other half. Stay with me. It doesn't sound very exciting or very, juicy, but stay with me for a second. And then we will confirm this prediction by empirical evidence. So that is the scientific approach. And if the evidence or if the claim or the prediction can be confirmed, that means if that confirmation is successful, then the hypothesis gets accepted. Then we accept the whole hypothesis, because if the hypothesis is making a specific prediction, we only want to test a specific prediction. Now it can make more predictions over time, and more predictions can be tested. And if they all keep coming true, then the hypothesis becomes stronger and stronger into a theory and finally even into a law. But even if one prediction fails, then we have to modify the hypothesis or reject the hypothesis. Okay. Now, falsifiable means that a prediction has to be, the outcome of testing that prediction can go either way. Okay. So you need to come up with an experiment which can clearly tell whether the prediction was correct or it was completely opposite or false. You should not be left in a limbo or in an unknown situation or with an unknown answer, that you conducted the experiment, but the experiment did not yield a result which could clearly agree with the prediction or clearly disagree with the prediction. So the experiment or the prediction should be such, the prediction should come with an experiment which should clearly demonstrate the correctness of the prediction or the incorrectness of the prediction. That is what it means by falsifiable. All right. So let us see. So now, we will come to this point. Okay. So before we get started, a quick note of caution that what is the purpose of Srimad Bhagavatam? This is a Srimad Bhagavatam class. It's not a science class. The purpose of Srimad Bhagavatam itself, when it was spoken by Shukadev Goswami, was not to disclose or to teach scientific principles. Okay. Shukadev Goswami was talking to a person, a great emperor, Parikshit Maharaj, who was going to die in 7 days. So he's not interested in science and how, science formulas or science equations. Hardly, if one is going to die in 7 days, that's not the thing on your mind. It is the purpose of Srimad Bhagavatam is to disclose the principles of Bhagavan, Bhakti, and Bhaktas, and how can we become a Bhakta and go to Bhagavan. That is the purpose of Srimad Bhagavatam. And even you would agree that a dying man would be more interested in this than science equations. Okay. So that is the purpose of Srimad Bhagavatam. So therefore, even though we are trying to see the scientific legitimacy of Srimad Bhagavatam, that's really not the right thing to do. Even though we are doing it today, that's not the That's not how we should use Srimad Bhagavatam, or that's not the best way to absorb ourselves in Srimad Bhagavatam, is to try to find out these scientific principles. That is like trying to study physics by reading the biography of Newton or Einstein. If you want to study physics, read a physics textbook. If you want to relish the life and how he lived his life and what all happened in the life of a scientist, then you read a biography. So the purpose is different. All right. So the purpose of today is not to use Bhagavatam as a science textbook, but it is to, since we are materially minded people, if somebody is a perfect devotee, then today's talk is useless for him. It may be interesting to see the beauty of Srimad Bhagavatam, but it will not increase or decrease his faith in Srimad Bhagavatam even by 1%, because he's already a devotee. So this talk or this discussion of today is aimed for those people who may not have full faith in Bhagavatam. So it will help in developing the faith in Srimad Bhagavatam for such people who are materialistically or materially minded, scientifically minded. It might help in increasing their faith. That is the purpose. All right. So now we will go deeply into one verse. Today's topic, we will only go through one verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. All right. 5th canto, 1st chapter, 30th verse. All right. So in our course of Srimad Bhagavatam series, who can tell me what is the one of the big topics in 5th canto? We have covered it in great detail.
Narad Muni? Narad Muni?
Narad Muni is everywhere. Narad Muni is in 1st canto. His history is in 1st canto, 5th chapter. I'm saying 5th canto.
Prahlad Prabhu.
Prahlad Maharaj is 7th canto.
Prabhuji, Jada Bharat.
Very nice. The 3 lives of King Bharat. Bharat Maharaj, then the deer. If you remember, the deer, he became a deer because, if you remember, he got attracted to a deer, and in his last moment, yam yam vapi saram smaran bhavam tyajyatyante kalevaram. So when he was quitting his body, tyajyatyante, his mind, bhavam, was on the deer. And tam tam evaiti konteya sadatad bhava bhavitaha. So he got the body of a deer. Tam tam evaiti konteya. So because he was thinking of a deer, he got body of deer. All right. And then the 3rd life was Jad Bharat. Now, this whole thing started with a very nice discourse. Who is the father of King Bharat? Rishabhdev. And he gave very nice discourse in the 5th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam. 5th chapter of 5th canto, 5.5. Very important chapter. We covered that chapter also in detail. Anyway, the 1st chapter, therefore, has to have some relationship with King Bharat and Rishabhdev. So the 1st chapter is describing the dynasty, the previous dynasty of King Bharat or Bhagwan Rishabhdev. That is what is being described. And one of the kings in that dynasty is Maharaj Priyavrata. Okay, so but we don't need to go into the details of it. He was a great king, and an ancestor, or a what we say in Sanskrit, Purvaj, ancestor is the right word, of Maharaj of Bhagwan Rishabhdev, Maharaj Bharat, and so on. So here one just small thing is being described. Now you can see there is no science in this. It is just describing the mood of Maharaj Priyavrata. Okay. So let us go through this verse. So I'll go line by line. Okay. Yavad avabhasayati. Now, several verses of 5th canto are not in any meter. They are in a textual format. So just straightforward text. So or at least I don't think, or I don't understand what meter it is. So I think my understanding is it is in a straight textual format. Prose, as we say, prose. So Yavad avabhasayati suragirim anuparikraman bhagavan adityo vasudhatalam ardhenaiva pratapatya ardhena avachhadayati tadahi bhagavad upasana upachita ati purusha prabhavastad anabhinandan samajavena rathena jyotirmayena rajनीम api dinam karishyami iti saptakrita vastaranim anuparyakramad dvitiya iva patangaha. So this is the verse. Okay, so let us understand what the verse is saying. Yavad avabhasayati. So this is describing a sort of a mood of Priyavrata Maharaj upon seeing the sun. All right. So you can see my cursor on the screen. All right. So you can see here Bhagavan Aditya. So who is Aditya? Come on. Very quick.
Sun God.
Sun God.
Sun God.
Yeah, sun. So it is talking about sun god. So ava bhasayati. Bhasayati means who is illuminating or who is like lighting up. So the bright and illuminating yavad ava bhasayati suragirim anu parikraman. So the sun god is doing parikrama. He is going around this suragirim. Giri means mountain. So there is a mountain called Sumeru mountain or Meru mountain, and the sun is going around the Meru mountain, and it is providing, it's very bright, and lot of bright light is coming out of the sun god. Bhagavan Adityo. Okay, so far so good. Then Vasudha Talam. What is Vasudha? Vasudha means
Earth.
Earth. Very nice. So Vasudha Talam, on the surface of the earth. Okay, what is Ardhenaiva pratapatya. So Ardhenaiva, what is Ardha?
Half.
Very nice. So please remember that. So, and pratapatya means that it is illuminating.
Dark.
No, pratapatya means illuminating. So the surface of the earth, half of the earth, surface of the earth is being illuminated. Half, ardhenaiva. And ardhena avachhadayati, which means it is covered or it is dark. Shadow or dark. Okay. So half is covered, half is lit up. Are you following? So this is the scientific principle which I am abbreviating as SDN, simultaneous day and night, which means at the same time half of the earth is experiencing day, half of the earth is experiencing night. Isn't it very clear in Sanskrit?
Yes.
Any doubts about it?
No.
Okay, good. Then the next of it is his mood. It is not relevant for today's talk, but since we are dealing with a Sanskrit verse, let's complete it. Bhagavad Upasana Upachita. So what did Maharaj Priyavrata do? He did Bhagavad Upasana. He did worship and meditation on the Lord, and he pleased the Lord. And then Ati Purusha Prabhavastad Anabhinandan. So, and he was a great king, because of his worship and his faith in the Supreme Lord. Prabhavas, he had great influence, great power. Ati Purusha. Ati Purush means superhuman. That's pretty much the literal meaning. Anabhinandan. Anabhinandan means he was not pleased. Abhinandan means to be pleased or to please somebody. So he was not pleased with this situation, Anabhinandan, that half of the earth is in darkness. He wanted to see the whole earth in always, in brightness, no darkness. Why should there be darkness? So what did he do? Sama javena rathena jyotirmayena. So sama javena. So on a equally bright rath, which was dazzling, jyotirmayena. So he got onto a chariot. He obtained this kind of chariot from Bhagwan, which was very bright. And sama javena, equally bright as the Bhagwan Aditya. So he got such a chariot, which was as bright as that of sun god. And he got onto it. And what did he decide? Rajini. What is Rajini?
Night.
Night. Night is called Rajni. Rajni api dinam karishyami iti. Rajni ko main din bana dunga. I will make night into day. Karishyami means I will do so. Are you following? So he made a resolve that I will make all the night, the half of the planet which is in the night, I will make it into day. And then after making this resolve, what did he do? Saptakrit vastaranim anuparya kramad. So 7 times he followed the sun, like 180 degree. So if sun is here, he is here. So, he is kind of, wherever. So the sun is, there is half of it is day. So he's exactly opposite. And he's providing daylight by his own chariot. So half of it is now being lit up by the sun. The other half is being lit up by the chariot of Maharaj Priyavrata. Yeah, the second one. Dvitiya iva patanga. So the patanga means like a sun. Second sun. So he became like a second sun in the sky, so to say, whatever. Okay. Did you get the understanding of the verse? All right. So sum and substance of the verse is that Maharaj Priyavrata is observing that on the earth, Vasudha Talam, on the surface of the earth, half of it is only day, remaining half of it is night. That is the natural situation. He became unhappy with that situation and he thought, I want to make the whole thing into day. And he became like a second sun. And, wherever there was night, he made it into day. Okay. So this is not a scientific verse, as you can see. It is only telling the nice mood of Maharaj Priyavrata to dispel darkness from everywhere, right? Just like Agyan is known as darkness, Gyan is known as light. So Agyan we want to dispel through the light of Gyan. So in the same way he thought, I will dispel the darkness from this whole earth. That is the mood of Maharaj Priyavrata. So, but the scientific part, as you can see, very clearly it is being said that on the earth, half is day, at the same time, half is night. Does anybody have any disagreement that this verse is saying that? Right? All right. Now, there are many other things in the discussion that we could have done, but we don't have time for it. So not in scope for today. Is heliocentric versus geocentric, whether the sun is going around the earth or the earth is going around the sun. Okay. It's not in scope for today's discussion. What is Mount Sumeru? Where is Mount Sumeru? Why is the sun going around Mount Sumeru? Why is the sun called as Bhagavan? We know sun is demigod or devata. Or why did Maharaj Priyavrata not like the situation? All those have good answers. We have, can be answered, but we want to stay focused on this one topic. That's all we can do in 1.5 hours. So we don't want to deviate or digress from the topic. All right. All right. So let us understand this concept of simultaneous day and night. Now, this is the picture that we all know from our elementary school. Even a 3rd grade child knows this picture, correct? And in this picture, we can clearly see that half of the earth is lit up by the sun. The remaining half is in darkness. Correct? Any problem with this? Even a 3rd grader understands this. We are not going to talk about the tilted axis and how seasons are made because of the tilt of the axis. That's not, again, a topic for today. Just the fact that half of the earth is lit, half is day, half is night. Now the question becomes, this is the most important question of today's talk. How do we know? How do you know that if right now for you it is 12 o'clock in the afternoon, or noon we call midday, then on the exact opposite side it is midnight? How do you know? How do you know?
Because it is sphere.
How do you know it is sphere? Have you been to space, Mataji?
We were told.
You were told. That is Shabda Praman. I am asking for Pratyaksha. Pratyaksha Praman, which means solid empirical evidence. Isn't it? So let us see. One way is if you have a telephone. Isn't it? And so Renuka Mataji, you can play the role of mother. And let's see. Lakshmi Prabhu, you can play the role of the sun. So you can unmute. So Renuka Mataji, you can read.
Hi, Sunny. It's a bright, sunny day here. How was your day?
Hi, Mom. I had a long day. It's almost midnight here. I'm going to bed now.
All right. So at the same time, now assuming that the mother and son are not lying to each other, they are speaking the truth. That is an assumption we are making. We have proof. Both the mother and son, at least these two people, can conclusively know that when there is day here, there is night on the other side. And the son knows that the mother is 180 degree on the other side. The mother is in wherever, America, the son is in India or whatever, 180 degree opposite. Agreed? This is empirical evidence. All right. Then we have more pictures from space. This is real hardcore evidence, isn't it? From space, that the Earth is looking like a ball. It is looking like a sphere. And also we can see that from, I don't have a picture where the sun is there, but I believe that from the satellite that this picture was taken, one of these pictures, they could also see the sun on the same side that was lit up on the Earth. So the sun was also visible, especially in the moon picture here, which was taken by one of the Apollo missions from the moon. They could see the sun on the top, which is lighting up the moon, and also it is lighting up the upper portion of the Earth. Therefore, half of the Earth, obviously this remaining half, which cannot be seen, but is in darkness. So this is hardcore, direct empirical evidence. Okay? Are you clear? So we see this is called empirical evidence to prove SDN, simultaneous day and night. All right. Now all this sounds very simple. Where is the science? You might be thinking. What are we really talking about? Okay. So now,
can I ask a question here, sir?
Okay.
I mean, my question is that all these kings and most of these leelas were done by Lord Krishna multiple times in different planets. So is it we are only talking about Earth planet, or this happens on all the planets, right? I mean, that is my question.
Again, not in scope for today. We know that this whole topic or this whole discussion, Vasudha, is related to the Earth planet, and let's remain focused on that. Okay. There are different planets. Maybe not all of them are spherical. We will not go in that direction. All right. Okay. So we are talking about this Earth planet. So now let's stay focused. Imagine yourself in an age few thousand years ago. Now, Srimad Bhagavatam was composed by Vyasadeva about 5,000 years ago. This whole episode of Shukadev Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj happened after the Mahabharat war, when Parikshit Maharaj was born after Mahabharat. Then he ruled for many years, and then he got cursed to die in 7 days, and then he heard Srimad Bhagavatam. So this whole episode happened about 5,000 years ago. You transport yourself, let us say 4,000 years or whatever, 5,000 years ago. And now the question is that how can you know that if it is midday for you, then it is midnight somewhere else on Earth? How can you know that? You cannot assume few thousand years ago any modern equipment like telephones or satellites or precision clocks or high-speed aeroplanes or anything. And of course, you cannot use any yogic powers either. Okay, by yogic powers, you can go from one side to the other side and you can see one is night, one is day. That's easy. But just if you are an ordinary person without any of these facilities, I request you to think for 2 minutes of an empirical experiment with the technology of 3000 BC that will confirm SDN, simultaneous day and night on Earth. Can anybody think like any experiment?
Sir, if you start walking from, let's say, longitudinally from, let's say, east to west, and the time, the sun still kind of shines and something like that.
So you don't have any precision clocks and your walking speed is fairly slow. I don't see how you can establish that if it is day here, then it is night somewhere else. That's exactly why I included precision clocks.
Prabhuji, they might have used moon as reference just to see that, constellations are changing and moon, they see its size increases and decreases.
So again, let us not assume that the moon is spherical either. Let us assume moon is whatever, having phases and all that. We are talking about the Earth only. Are you saying that by looking at the moon, somehow we can know that the Earth has day and night? Or are you saying because the moon has phases, therefore the Earth will also have phases as an extrapolation? Extrapolation is not allowed.
Yeah, mostly as extrapolation, yes.
No, not allowed. I want hard empirical evidence. Maybe moon has simultaneous day and night. That's okay. How do we know the Earth has it? Okay.
So 12 hours there is sunlight, and for 12 hours it is not there.
Okay. So
Alternating.
that is fine. I can come up with a model of I will show and an alternate model. I don't exactly show it, but maybe the sun goes below the Earth.
Oh.
There is no human beings there. There is no living. All living entities are on one side of a flat disk, and the sun goes on the other side. There is really, it's not a Vasudha Tala. The other side, it cannot be called Vasudha Tala. So how do you say that half of it is at the same time is in darkness?
At the time, they may not be knowing whether Earth is flat or round.
But we are only concerned about SDN, simultaneous day and night.
So, Prabhuji, from the size and the shape of the shadow, can you extrapolate that both the objects, the sun and the earth, which are causing the shadows to form, are in some relative motion against each other, right? And then I think maybe making measurements on the shadow. I'm I still need to wrap my mind around it, but there is obviously something happening when a shadow goes from the back to the front. At a point in time, it's right above a person. So when these two bodies move against each other,
we are not saying that. We are not saying that we are not saying that you prove that the sun rises, traverses the sky and sets in the west. The sun rises in the east, goes in the sky, sets in the west, and casts shadows. That part nobody is disputing.
Got
it.
It
is pretty clear. And of course, light travels in straight lines. Okay, light doesn't travel in curves, and therefore it casts shadows of various lengths depending upon where it is in the sky, and it sets. But once it has set, how do you know that it is giving, now it is night for you, how do you know that it is day for somebody else? That is the question.
Yes.
God might have told to somebody that there is a night and day.
That is Shabda. We are talking about Pratyaksha. Okay. Now you can easily say, I will pick up a cell phone, I will call my friend on the other side, but that's not allowed.
At the time, 3,000 years back,
It's not allowed.
God might have told to
Okay.
somebody.
That's also not allowed. That is yogic power.
Maybe the temperature of the oceans or something. I don't know.
It starts at east and it sets at the west, and then again it starts in the east, right? So there is a 180-degree difference. So from that we can think that there is dark, there is a
But how do you know that yes, agreed that the sun is going somewhere and reappearing on the other side, back in the east. But how do you know that while the sun was gone, from your perspective, there was some portion of valid earth on the other side?
Yeah.
How do you
So,
know?
Prabhuji, one thing people knew because of reference to other constellations, that Earth is revolving, because they will see the movement of the Earth.
Revolving means revolving around the sun?
No.
Rotating, you mean?
Rotating, yes, on its axis, revolving or rotating on its axis, right? So that part they knew.
No.
Because constellation.
How do you know that the Earth is rotating? Maybe the sky dome is rotating. Earth is fixed. Okay, so it's not possible. All right. With the 3000 BC technology, it's not possible. All right. And you can think more about it. All right. And either you will have to take the help of something which is not allowed in these parameters, within these constraints, or you cannot know that. It is as simple as that. All right. Or you'll have to make some other assumptions. And I'm saying making those assumptions is not allowed. You only can take what is there in 5.1.30. That at the time when there is half the earth is experiencing day, the other half is experiencing night. And this is going on in a circular fashion, because we see that we said that it is going round and round. And Maharaj Priyavrata chose the other half. That's also I explained. He chose the other half so that now 180-degree opposite, now 100% coverage is there. So let us say that there existed scientists, modern scientists in 3000 BC, who have faith on the statement of Srimad Bhagavatam. They believe in Srimad Bhagavatam. They have no doubt that Srimad Bhagavatam is true. They fully believe it. Now they want to explain it. How is it possible that SDN occurs, simultaneous day and night occurs on Earth? So they can come up with various models to explain it. Two primary models were prevalent. There were more. One is known as the flat Earth model, and the other is the spherical Earth model. Okay. Spherical Earth model is also very old. But they didn't know which one is correct, which one is wrong, and all those things. Now we know, because we can go in space and see. But then they did not know. So now the problem is, how do we confirm the model? What is the model? How can somebody go and see which one is correct, and that they can actually see half of the Earth in day, half of the Earth in night? I showed you a picture from the moon or from Apollo satellite, but that facility did not exist. There are other models too, but they are very absurd. It's not just these two models, flat Earth and spherical Earth. There are other models. One of the very wacky models is light does not travel in straight lines. Now we will, those are very extremely absurd, and we will not talk about those. All right. And there are all kinds of other wacky models in between. So again, we can keep talking for the whole day. So let us look at, can you see the animation here, by the way, on the screen? So this is an animated GIF. So in the flat Earth model, the Earth is supposed to be flat, and the sun kind of goes around on top of the Earth. So think about it like a, Earth is like a flat thing. Can you see my cursor? and it's like a flashlight. You take a flashlight and you make it go around the map of the Earth. So some part of the map will be bright, some part of the map will be dark, because so it depends. The flashlight has to be very close to the map. If you take the flashlight very much above, then the whole Earth will be almost of the same brightness, right? So the flashlight has to be at some specific distance from the surface of the Earth. Are you following? For that portion to be brightly lit, the remaining will be dark. Are you following? So that is one possible model. Okay. So that is known as the flat Earth model. And, the lit portion is like a circle or a ellipse, depending upon, whether you shine the light like this or like this, if you tilt the flashlight or torchlight. But anyway, we can say that some portion, it may not be exactly half. It could be made half, not in a visual sense, but by area, it can be possible to make it half if you perfectly put the flashlight at a particular, height above the map and tilt it or whatever, okay? And the other half could have, we can say, is night. Are you following? This is one possibility. What is the problem with this model? Now, obviously, today we know this is not true. But now right now you are in 3000 BC. So let us say, how can you say that this model is not correct?
If the light is too far, then whole Earth will get.
Yeah.
Sun is very far away from Earth.
Well, that also you don't know. How far? How do you know? You don't have any modern instruments to measure the distance of the sun to the Earth.
No, because of this movement, always only one portion of the Earth will be getting more light. Other portion will be ever dark. It is not so in actual practice.
No. Did you not see the animation?
I saw, Prabhu.
So
the extreme ends are not getting light.
Okay.
Especially the other pole.
Okay, fine. Okay, so you are maybe on the right track. There is one very obvious answer, by the way. In interest of time, we will move forward.
Is it the eclipse phenomenon that they would have known about eclipses?
Eclipse is true, but let us assume they assume there's a third planet, Rahu or Ketu, which is coming in between. Okay, so
Okay.
don't assume that a lunar eclipse is Earth's shadow on the moon, or a solar eclipse is moon's shadow on the Earth. Let us assume that some imaginary body comes in between Rahu. Again, let's completely keep that aside. All right, fair? Ashutosh?
Yes,
Prabhu?
yes. Yeah. Fair.
Okay. Now, one very obvious problem with this model is what? People on this side, can you see my cursor? Where there is night, they will still be able to see the sun, isn't it? If light travels in straight lines. Why will they not see the sun? It may be very faint. It may be very, not very bright. But so there will be like in physics, you might have heard of a concept called umbra and penumbra. In a very simple terms, it is like the bright portion of light and a not so bright portion of the light. So if you put a flashlight like this on a map, yes, it will form a lit up circle on the table. But if you are standing even in a shadow portion, you will still be able to see the flashlight. It's not like the flashlight becomes hidden from you, right? But have you seen this picture? Have you ever been to the beach? Do you think people 3000 years ago saw this picture? They also were living on the beach, isn't it? There were sea beaches and they could see this every day. which means the sun is actually disappearing from their view. It's going below the horizon and completely gone. And the moment it goes down, there is dusk, and very soon there is completely, if it is no moon, if it is Amavasya, it's pitch dark. Completely dark. They can see no sun. And it's not like they can trying to find the sun. They actually saw the sun disappearing. The sun actually said, bye-bye, I'm going. And he closed the door. You cannot see. Right? So,
but they could also imagine that there are multiple suns in different parts of the earth.
Okay. Again, let's assume one sun. Let's not go to multiple sun concept. All right? Assuming one sun. These are good points, but I'm just kind of, making the problem tighter and tighter. So, flat earth model cannot explain this view. And this view was seen even by people thousands of years ago. So the sun should never go below the horizon. Instead, it should just become smaller and smaller and smaller when it is on the other side and fade away into the sky. Even if it becomes dark, but it should fade. This experience of the sun setting cannot be there. At best, it should just fade away completely from the view. Okay? But technically, it should be still visible. Your eyes may not be able to see it, but it should still be up there. It cannot just go below the horizon. So this pretty much rules out the flat earth model right away. At least that portion where not just the flat earth may still could be explained by other theories and all, by adding more objects into the picture. But at least this simultaneous day and night, if we take this model, what I showed here, or better in this picture, that model, what is being shown in this picture, cannot be explained in this model is clearly wrong because we see the sun setting. That is the point being made. Also, again, I will probably go through this a little more quickly. In this model, how do you explain a 24-hour day in Antarctica in December? Now we know that in December, in Antarctica, we have summer or winter. Let's see who is awake. Antarctica experiences?
Summer.
It is summer, Prabhuji.
It is summer in December, isn't it? Because it is in the southern hemisphere. And we know that on the South Pole, the sun just keeps going around. And so there is no darkness at all. But so in December, this should be the picture that somehow you have to shine the flashlight so that it is providing day to half of the earth. Now, Antarctica in a flat earth model is on the circumference, because anywhere, if you were to take a ship from anywhere, if you go, you will still reach Antarctica. Okay? Along any longitudinal line, if you go, you will reach Antarctica. So let us say you reach Antarctica somehow. And of course, the first expedition to Antarctica was only in 1800s. No recorded human went before that. So anyway, this is a not valid scenario. But I'm just saying that even if you were to be in Antarctica when it is summer, somehow the light has to be shined in a way that the darkness, the light can be on a specific circle. How can darkness be limited to a specific circle? The light has to be like, somehow on the rest of the planet plus around it. That's a very weird form of, lighting up of a flat surface using a single object of light source. Doesn't work. Anyway, so these are some of the reasons why the flat earth model cannot explain simultaneous day and night at all places on the earth, including the fact that the poles experiences complete sunlight or complete daytime or nighttime in winter or summer, depending on which pole we are talking about. Okay. So what could have been the best empirical evidence for flat earth model? If you went in outer space and you saw like this, right? That would have been the best evidence. You take a spaceship, you go in outer space, and you see a flat Earth. Right? Now, we have done that experiment, and it is not true. Correct? We don't see this. I showed you the picture, what we actually see. So this is why it is falsifiable. One of the claims of flat Earth model or whatever could have been that the experiment could have been take a spaceship, go in space, see what you, or take a picture of what you see. And if it is flat, then it's a flat Earth. If it's spherical, then it's a spherical Earth. That is a falsifiable claim. Okay, so we don't see it like this. So it's not a flat Earth model. All right, so this was a very, actually, even in today's world, there are many flat Earthers. So we don't want to disturb them, but we don't want to associate with them either. We'll just happily avoid them. Anyway, now comes the spherical Earth model. So the spherical Earth model explains this phenomenon perfectly. Do you agree? Even a third grader knows that. Remember the picture we saw in the very beginning. So there is no problem with a spherical Earth model. The spherical Earth model gradually started picking up in the Middle Ages due to various reasons. People, went on expeditions little bit into the sea, and they didn't see them falling down. So there was no edge. Then they said, let's go this time little more farther. They went little more. They still couldn't find an edge. So they were looking for an edge when they will fall. One of the punishments was, we'll make you go and we'll just push you off the Earth on the edge. They couldn't be punished that way. The sea never ended. And all those kind of things were happening. So it started picking up steam. But in the 16th century AD onwards, the spherical model gained a more mainstream foothold. Okay. And finally, by the 18th, 16th, 17th century, it was, we got complete confirmation of a spherical model. And the first circumnavigation was by a person called Magellan in 1522. There used to be a company, GPS company called Magellan. It was inspired by this first person who went around the Earth on a ship, and he reached back. He started from Portugal, went around and came back to Portugal. Okay. Sorry, kindly mute yourself. So by around the 16th century, there was complete confirmation of the spherical shape of the Earth. And SDN, or simultaneous day and night, is a direct consequence of the spherical Earth model. If the Earth is a sphere and you have one sun, no two suns, okay? And by the way, Prasoon Prabhu, to answer your question, now that I'm thinking, there could not have been two suns, because clearly in the verse itself, it is said that Maharaj Priyavata became the second sun. And of course, that was a temporary phenomenon. All right. After that, the second sun was gone. So it said, Dvitiya iva patangaha. He became like the second sun. So that means before that, there was exactly one. Do you agree? Are you convinced?
Yep.
Now? Otherwise, it could have said, Anya, or one more, another sun. Then we would not have a number. It would have been n plus 1, but n could have been questionable. Now we definitely know n is equal to 1. And 1 plus 1 is 2, therefore Dvitiya. Do you agree?
Yes.
Okay, good. So we were able to answer your question. That particular question is answered. All right, anyway. So do you agree that SDN is a direct consequence of a spherical Earth? Assuming one sun. Because a sun is a light source, and however you place the Earth anywhere, you can only light half of it. There is no other way, unless of course you say light travels in curves. It goes around and lights the other side. We don't want to go in all those weird things that light travels in curved lines. Assuming light travels in straight lines, Does anybody have a problem with the statement that SDN is a direct consequence of the spherical Earth model? I don't think there should be any problem with that logic. All right. So once this spherical Earth model became firm, mainstream, which was about 4,500, I said only 4,500 years, we get solid confirmation of SDN statement from Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam was written or spoken from today, 5,000 years ago, but let us say 15th century. It still took 4,500 years to get confirmation that that verse of Bhagavatam is true. Are you following? Are you following that? Let that sink in. Please think about it for a while.
In fact, so there are a lot of other empirical evidences before the so-called modern scientific evidence that was presented. I mean, a lot of it is written in other texts in the history of our, I mean, where they talk about atoms, their orbits, they talk about the calculus and all that as well.
No, so you are saying there was solid evidence before the 1500s of the spherical nature of the Earth, or the...
Yeah, because I think a lot of these, I mean, I don't exactly know that, but I was reading that there are some texts in other Upanishads as well that say that, you know, why Earth has to be spherical, and, you know, they have proved it mathematically as well. The earlier Vedic mathematic formulas and everything. I can find it out and share with you.
Okay, sure, but without using any technical instruments.
Yeah, mathematically, actually.
Mathematically. Okay, please show me.
Sure.
All right. Anyway, so it took 4,500 years to get confirmation of this one statement from Bhagavatam. So, step back for a second and let it sink in that the confirmation of this simultaneous day and night concept, primarily via the scientifically developed spherical Earth model, is nothing short of a colossal, a gigantic stamp of legitimacy on Srimad Bhagavatam by modern science, by confirming one of its claims, just one of its claims, in 2 lines in one verse. That verse has 10 lines. This claim, we are calling it a claim. It was just to show the mood of Maharaj Priyavrata. But from that, we could see that half of the Earth is day, and at the same time, half of the Earth is night, simultaneous day and night. So we picked that concept. But either you could believe it by faith for 4,500 years, or after 4,500 years, now you have proof. Now we can say after 5,000 years, we have solid proof. You go into space, take a picture. Now you can say also picture is fake. So now these days you can ask Elon Musk, he will, you know, there is all this tourism, space tourism. You can pay $100,000. You can go in a spaceship. And if you survive and you come back and you don't get a heart attack in between, then you can see with your own eyes, no need for camera, no need of anything. You can see with your own eyes that the Earth is spherical. All right. How many years it took? 5,000 years. And then there will be those who will claim that Srimad Bhagavatam was composed only 1,000 years ago, or it was composed 500 years ago. And there will be no shortage of people who will never believe. Now, for those who claim that it was composed 500 years ago or 800 years ago, we have some more surprises for them in the store, but that is for a different discussion. We have more things to say. This is just one small element or one small claim in the Srimad Bhagavatam, which took 4,500 years to verify empirically. But it proved that Bhagavatam was right. There is indeed half day is sun or day, half earth is day, half earth is night. All right. So the conclusion is Of course, there will be naysayers. We cannot do much about them. Best is to ignore them. But many things in Srimad Bhagavatam are still puzzling. Now remember the title of the talk. The title of the talk was that Srimad Bhagavatam is legitimate and therefore Krishna is legitimate. That was the topic. So many things in Bhagavatam are still puzzling, and they seem like they are straight out of some kind of fairy tale. Like, a half man, half lion emerging out of a pillar. Who am I talking about?
Narasimhadev.
Narasimhadev. And so many other things are there. So many other things. Okay. Just out of the completely like unimaginable. So there are still many things. But for some small things like SDN, now we have solid confirmation of SDN. It was a verse in Srimad Bhagavatam, and we know it is 100% true. This fact, once we think, we kind of seem to gloss over it, as if there were satellites 5,000 years ago and we already knew the earth is spherical. This whole talk I spent to convince you that it is not such an obvious thing. It's not so obvious that half of the earth will have day-night, simultaneously half of it will have night. It's not obvious by any stretch. I asked you to come up with an experiment. You could not. And take your time. Still, if you can come up with any experiment or any mathematical anything, you're not allowed to measure the curvature or this or that with any precision instruments, by the way. How can you know that simultaneous day and night or a spherical nature, which leads to SDN? Very hard. So, but Bhagavatam already said it. 5,000 years ago, it already said it. So if this statement is true, maybe the other statements are also true.
Prabhuji, can I say something here?
1 second. We just don't have the confirmation today. Wait for another 4,500 years, maybe more confirmation you will get. Okay. Like those people who may have doubted this statement, how many years they had to wait to get full confirmation? 4,500 years. So if you don't believe other things in Bhagavatam, you are welcome to wait. Maybe one day you might get the confirmation. No guarantees whether it will happen in 500 years, 5,000 years, 50,000 years. We don't know. Okay. But the point is, not being able to understand everything in Bhagavatam should not be the reason to reject everything in Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam is a Purana for understanding Bhagavan, who cannot be understood even by the devotees. How can we expect to verify every single aspect of Bhagavatam? But we can see some of these very strange things like SDN. The whole talk was spent to show you how strange SDN would have been 5,000 years ago. It is not obvious. Now we know it is truth. So we can then develop faith that rest of it also must be or could be true, at least. At the very least, it could be true. And therefore, we should use the Bhagavatam with that faith to know Krishna, which is Sambandha, to do Krishna Bhakti, which is Abhidheya, and to attain Krishna Prema, which is Prayojana. Otherwise, it will be a colossal waste of life, of human life. That is the point. So with full faith in Srimad Bhagavatam, and the faith builds because of these kind of statements. If these statements are true, maybe the rest of it is also true. Now you have two choices. Wait for another 4,500 years. Anybody willing to wait for 4,500 years? Or you can believe it today and start following its instructions. What is the number one instruction of Bhagavatam? Nama Sankirtana and Bhagavat Shravan in association of devotees. That is easy. So the end message is, let us all use these, our material knowledge, scientific knowledge, whatever we have learned, to actually help to build our faith in Bhagavatam. If you are scientifically minded, not everybody requires that kind of conviction, but for those that may be scientifically minded, that's why I sent in the message that today it might be interesting talk for the scientifically minded people. So such people can use this to strengthen their faith in Bhagavatam and then follow the rest of the instructions, which may be not so obvious. How is it obvious? If you do Nam Sankirtan, you will go to Vaikuntha Lok. It's not obvious. You have to do it purely on the basis of faith. No science experiment can be proven or can be shown, or you cannot come up with any experiment which is falsifiable to tell that if I do Nam Sankirtan, I will go to Vaikuntha Lok or Krishna Lok. You have to do it only on the basis of faith. But these other things help to build that faith. So with that faith, let us follow the most important instructions of Srimad Bhagavatam. That is the main message of today's talk. Okay, that is the end of the today's talk. Thank you very much for listening to Srimad Bhagavatam and this whole discussion. And we can see if there are any questions or discussions.
Can I say something?
Yes.
Prabhuji, the Srimad Bhagavatam has been composed in Sanskrit language.
Yes.
And in Sanskrit, the word for our earth is bhugol. So which itself is imbibing bhu and gol, and the gol means the sphere. So already in the Sanskrit language, it is very clear that the earth is has
now,
a spherical.
Yes, you are very correct. But gol, if you really think about it, yes, gol is, I would say, circular, not necessarily spherical.
Right. That is true.
So through gol, now bhugol, now we call globe. If you go to India, or if you go to a Hindi speaking town in India and you want to buy a globe, so you will not say globe, you will say bhugol kharidna hai. I want to buy a globe. Okay, that is the modern. We know already that the earth is spherical, so we are using the word bhugol. But if you just divide the word, bhu means earth, gol means round. Even a disc, go to this picture. Let me share my screen. Now, can you see? I claim that even this kind of earth, you see this flat earth? I claim this can also fit the dictionary meaning of bhugol. Bhu and gol. It is the earth. This is bhu, and it is gol. So yes, it is not square or not triangular. It's not like a pyramid either. It's not a cube. But we have narrowed it down to two choices: circular disc like a coin or a sphere. Now, which one?
Prabhuji, it is ardhakol.
Sorry, you are muted.
It is semi-sphere. It is not fully sphere.
What do you mean semi-sphere?
The picture shows not the spherical one.
I just took some picture. Forget that it is semi-sphere. Just assume it's like a coin. I just took this picture from Google.
Flat coin.
Maybe it's not a good picture. Think of it, it is just like a coin. Anyway, it's not the real picture of Earth. Right? Now there is another picture, another word that is used, which is kuvalaya in the Bhagavatam. All these are very important things. What is kuvalaya? Anybody knows? That was the name of elephant which Krishna killed, Kuvalaya Pida. So let me show you something, if I can find it at runtime. Let us see. Yes. Very nice. I will use this picture.
Kuvalaya means world.
So let me show you this picture on the screen. I found a picture. Where is my Zoom screen? And let me tell you what it means. Now that one is much more closer to a sphere. Can you see this picture? Kuvalaya means a closed lotus, a lotus which has not blossomed. So if you have not seen a lotus, or you might go and try to see a lotus when it is closed, it is like a sphere. Kuvalaya means a closed lotus. And that is the meaning of Kuvalaya. And if you see it, it will look like you can see in this other picture. I have another picture. I was trying to look for a real picture. There are other pictures of a closed lotus. I'm trying to look for a real one. These are just artistic pictures. Surprisingly, I cannot find a real picture. Just use this one, copy image. See, in this picture, can you see? At the center, it is like a sphere. It's like a ball. That is known as Kuvalaya. And Kuvalaya is actually the word, one of the word. If you search in Bhagavatam, you will see that the earth is like a Kuvalaya. That is one of the words that is used. So yes, but our point was that half of it is day, half of it is night. And if you just go by that one verse, there is so much packed into the verse. Yes, the rest of the Bhagavatam also tells us the truths. So yes, it supports our theory. The other statements like Kuvalaya or Gola, assuming Gola means sphere, support our statements. Yes, that is correct. Any other comments or questions?
Prabhuji, astronomy started in 1000 BC.
Okay. Astronomy was studied in many parts of the world. Even the ancient Egyptians also studied astronomy, which was much before 1000 BC.
Yes.
Astronomy is the oldest science. It is the mother of sciences, not the mother in that sense, but mother of sciences is known as mathematics. But it's the oldest science. Astronomy, or looking at the sky, was the main thing that propelled people to think as to, what is nature? What is going on? How can we understand this whole, empty space? What is this moon? What is these stars? And earlier, not in today's polluted situation, you could see so many other things clearly in the sky, like Milky Way, this Akash Ganga. It is not a cloud. Year after year, it used to maintain its shape. What is this Akash Ganga? What are these things? People used to wonder, and that was the biggest inspiration for the development of science. Much of the science developed because of astronomy. And if you see, the whole physics came from astronomy. The first laws of physics, Newton's laws, first came Galileo, who saw that the Jupiter moons are going around Jupiter. And he still did not know. He still, because anytime at that time it was now we are going into geocentric versus heliocentric. So the understanding was geocentric, that the Earth is the center, everything is going around the Earth. First time he saw with his telescope that Earth is not the center of everything. First time he saw that this little thing called Jupiter, which we now call Jupiter, they also called it Jupiter, is the center of something else, which is its moons. Then he wondered, we think we are the center of everything. Like, in our life, we think we are the most important person. Then you come across somebody else and you see, he is also important. So like that. And then came along Newton and developed all this theory of gravitation, which was his biggest contribution. The theory of, and the whole physics started from there. Chemistry came much later and biology came also later.
Prabhuji, in fact, in the Hatha Yoga, it is believed that the entire human system is like a solar system. And when they say there are Nadis, which is also an equivalent of Nadis, then we have Ganga ji as Ida Nadi, Pingla as Yamuna ji, Saraswati as Sushumna. So I think we are like solar systems inside the solar systems, and this is how they've explained it in the yogic.
Interesting. Okay. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, so a lot is inspired by the what we see in the sky. All right. Good. Any other comments or questions? Okay.
Probably just one comment, like as you rightly said, right? So even the calculation for all the planetary movements, right? Grahas were so accurate, even still it is followed and aligns with the modern astrology, the distance between Earth and Sun. So you were able to calculate all that so accurately with the tools or technology available at that time.
Yeah. I mean, there is some question mark around it. But yes, in largely that is a true statement. So yes, our Puranas and much of the calculations and all were done later in the Surya Siddhanta by Aryabhatta, which is a much more recent work. But yes, our Puranas also have a lot of calculations and numbers. I am not by any means an expert on all that. But yes, there is a lot of stuff has been revealed, not just this SDN. There are many things. This is not the only faith building aspect from Srimad Bhagavatam. There are many legs that we can stand on. Legs of faith. Many. And then there are even more legs which are completely beyond our imagination, or not imagination, but beyond our understanding. Like Lord Nrsimhadev's appearance. Cannot understand how it can happen that such a form of half man, half lion can come out of a pillar. Or so many other things. How can Lord Krishna lift a hill? Or, so many things. But there are enough number of legs that we can stand on. That is the point.
Prabhuji, in Hanuman Chalisa, distance between earth and sun was mentioned. Hanuman Chalisa.
You are asking or telling?
I am quoting.
Okay. What is the verse, or how it is? I don't remember.
In Hanuman Chalisa, I heard somebody commented also on that.
Okay, possible. I used to remember Hanuman Chalisa when I was a child. Now I have forgotten. And of course, I used to remember without meaning. Just
no, so in that Hanuman Chalisa, it says Yoga Sahasra Yojan par Bhanu. That means that's the million. If it's translated, that's a scientific number. It says in miles, how many miles sun is away from us.
Now, yojan is a distance, unit of distance. It is heavily debated. How much is a yojana? And there are different, over the ages, the yojana has changed. So it could be, it is one of the distance that is attributed to yojana is 5 miles, then 8 miles, also 12 miles. how much is yojan has changed over the ages. So yes, and sahasra yojan means 1000 yojanas. First of all, we cannot pinpoint how much is the yojana, and secondly, like, okay, I don't know. Yeah, but possible. It's quite possible. Okay. Okay, anything else? Otherwise, we can take leave. All right. Thank you very much. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Mataji. I got the class today in India.
Oh, you are in India. Thank you. Thank you for joining.
Thank you.